After a couple year hiatus, the Louisiana Super Derby is back at Louisiana Downs. It is back at 1.125 miles on the dirt. $200,000 up for grabs this weekend on Saturday out at Louisiana Downs. So I wanted to do a Super Derby deep dive and take a look at the field assembled for the Super Derby this year. Daily Racing Form is having a Labor Day sale this weekend all the way through September the 4th. You can take advantage all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Past performances, DRF picks, clocker reports, digital paper, all on sale at different discount prices up to 50%. Head to drf.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitter, there's a direct link for the sale. You can click right on that, and we'll get you all ready for that Labor Day sale. Let's talk about Louisiana Downs Super Derby. The big one is back. Congratulations to Kevin Preston and the entire team over there at Louisiana Downs for getting the Super Derby back. Now, this race has some incredible history, as we've had horses like Ali Sheba, Seeking the Gold, Sunday Silence, Tis Now win the Super Derby. It'll take a few years to get back to that status, but this year we have some big barns that send horses, and we have some up-and-coming horses, in particular one that I like in this year's Super Derby. So let's go through the entire field for this one. The number 1 is Machine Gun Man. He last raced at Evangeline Downs. He got the lead. He cleared. Horse Strong Eagle, who finished third, loomed up, looked like he was going to go right by, and Machine Gun Man just kicked on, opened back up. He got a 92 Beyer speed figure in winning that race, and he's won pretty impressively in 2 races going a mile where he's gotten the lead and just kicked on. The races where he's been against Stakes Company, though, he hasn't performed quite as well. You see, he was in the Sugar Bowl. He was well defeated that day. In the Lafayette, well behind Ghost Hero. So he's now going to have to go 1.125 miles. He'll go farther than he's ever been, and he'll have to deal with some speed to his outside. I don't know how much he wants to sit. I think he's going to be pretty one-dimensional, especially with that inside draw. So I think he ensures that this is going to be a fast pace. And then just at a quick glance, we'll go through these horses like the 2. Donegal wants to be close up. Donegal Arrow sat last time, but I don't think he wants to be too far out of it. Promise Me a Ride is really quick, and I think No White Flags wants to sit close. So they could be moving in this race. Machine Gun Man, 6-1 on the morning line here. The number 2 is Tis Donegal, and the 2 and the 3 both are in here for Donegal Racing. They come out of the same race at Evangeline. It was a muddy track on July the 22nd. First up, let's talk a little more about Tis Donegal. So we can actually watch the race because they're both in it. Tis Donegal and Donegal Arrow. So Tis Donegal is the 1. Donegal Arrow is the 7. Let's talk about the 1. Who's close up from the inside. He has the rail draw here. And he's going to push through to kind of battle for the lead from the inside. It's a muddy track, keep in mind, and there are 2 to his outside that are pressing him. So now the 1 is inside with 2 horses to his outside. Donegal Arrow, the 7, is going to take back a little bit here. And Donegal Arrow is now in the 4th spot in that second tier. I think that's the key. That's why Donegal Arrow was able to win this race, because he's able to sit in the second flight. Look at those top 3. They're going right at each other across the track. So this is a pretty good effort from Tis Donegal in the career debut. Draws the rail on a muddy track, has to push through and deal with 2 other horses to his outside pressuring him. He puts those 2 horses away, wins the battle of all the speeds, but he can't hold off his stablemate, who gets a better trip. And I don't even know how much Donegal Arrow wants to sit. You can see he comes off the pace a little bit here. He kind of strikes the front, and he's a little green, the 7. One's trying to battle on down inside as they run 1-2 in this race at Evangeline. And then they both come back here. They're both going to have to stretch out. This was 7 furlongs. So now they're going to go from 7 furlongs on a sloppy track to a mile and an eighth at Louisiana. Other positives about Tiz Donegal. Dam was a multiple stakes winner as a New York bred. He's also a half to a horse who was a New York bred stakes winner. And he has 3 siblings that are all winners. Fine pedigree. So we'll see if one more look at the pedigree, just because the Dam was a winner going a mile and an eighth, as was a sibling stakes winner. So the distance shouldn't be a problem for Tiz Donegal, and he should be forwardly placed. I thought that was a very honest effort for the career debut. Like, coming out of that race, I would actually prefer Tiz Donegal than Donegal Arrow, based on what I think could be upside with Tiz Donegal. Donegal Arrow, former Brad Cox trainee, moved into this barn who has both the 2 and the 3. Its course is a half to the Dam was a one-time a single winner. Its course a half to a horse named Dream Dance, who was multiple graded stakes place, was actually in the Kentucky Oaks. And Donegal Arrow did show us that he can come from off the pace a little bit. I just don't know if he's going to be able to sit going a mile and an eighth. But we do know he can get an off track. If the track comes up muddy and it's raining, positives for Donegal Arrow. I like the 4 quite a bit in here, Big Data. He's a horse who's just done so little wrong in his entire career. He has 7 career races. Let's go through them. You can start in his career debut. He finished second in a race where there were 2 next out winners. So 2 horses that came back to win their next start. The horse who beat him was named Lord Miles. Shout out Andrew Champagne. One of his signature moments when Andrew had this horse at 60-1 to win the Wood Memorial. But so he loses to Lord Miles in his debut. Big Data. So he loses to a future graded stakes winner and a nice horse. In his second start, he comes back and is a very good second that day. How about the third start? January the 14th. Look who is in this race. The winner, Kings Barnes, comes back and is the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby winner. Runs in the Kentucky Derby. It was only 11-1 in there. Look who's fourth in this race. Archangelo. Since the race where Archangelo was fourth, he's won his next 4 starts. Broke his maiden, won the Peter Pan, won the Belmont, won the Travers. And Big Data was not far behind Archangelo in that race, where Kings Barnes and Archangelo are in there. He then runs into, on May the 11th, Il Miracolo. He just won the Smarty Jones at Parks, the Grade 3 Smarty Jones, earned a 98 Beyer speed figure in doing so. Look at the company this horse has kept. So it looks deceiving when you see Big Data. Oh, he's never been in a stakes race. But in his debut, he lost to a Grade 2 winner. In his third start, he was behind a Grade 2 winner, Kings Barnes, and a multiple Grade 1 winner, Archangelo. In his fifth start, he's behind Il Miracolo, who's a Grade 3 winner. In the June 4th race, he finishes behind West Coast Cowboy, who is multiple graded stakes placed. He was the runner-up in the West Virginia Derby. He was third in the Holy Bull. Look at the company this horse has kept. All of these horses are legitimate stakes horses, graded stakes horses, and he's been right there and competitive in almost all these races. The only one was that January 14th race, which was a really tough race, and that race sent him to the bench. So he's off for a couple months following that. And look at his speed figures. He's almost progressed in every single race. The only time he didn't was that January 14th race. If you just eliminate that race off of the board, he's shown progression in every single one of his races. 51 up to 68, 76, 78, 80, 87. So can he take one more step forward here? Let's watch his race. last time out. Another major positive for him is his running style. He has speed, but he can sit off the pace, and that's what he's been doing more recently. He's been tracking. His early on, his second start, he was speedy, so I wasn't sure if that was the type of horse he was, but no, he's very patient. He sits nicely. He's the number 2 in here. He was sort of wrangled back a bit in the inside, and he was last in this small field early on, but he pushes through. And he just waits third, fourth, and now he settles. Like he wanted to go here, you could see, but he takes him back and he settles him down a little bit. This is the mark of a horse getting more patient, getting more mature. And he just waits nicely behind horses. And if you look at the way this race shapes up on paper, the Louisiana Super Derby, with Machine Gun Man, Tiz Donegal, possibly Donegal Arrow, Promise Me a Ride, all of them have good speed. Maybe even no white flags. It looks like there are 2 for sure closers in this race, and this one is one of them, Big Data. And why I like him more than How Did He Do That, who we'll talk about next, he has more tactical speed. Watch Big Data now, opening inside, boom, shoots through, and now he's able to draw off. And opens up here, and he puts away the 6-5 favorite. I feel like he's going to get this type of a trip where he's able to sit behind the leaders. He can probably get the jump on the horse who we'll talk about next. How did he do that? One bad race in his career. It was in a loaded field. It was a race we can just probably eliminate. Everything else has been good. Very honest. Big Data. Should be able to sit behind 1, maybe 2, 3, and 6, possibly even 7. 4 gets the trip, gets the jump on the 5. That's how I'm playing this race. Let's talk about how did he do that? So he's the only stakes winner in the field. He's actually a multiple stakes winner. We can go through some of his races because he's actually faced some nice horses in here. Look into Smarty Jones. He's behind Victory Formation and Angel of Empire, who was your Kentucky Derby favorite. Angel of Empire, Grade 1 Arkansas Derby winner and Risen Star winner. Hasn't really run a bad race this year. Victory Formation was very good at that time too and very fast. So How Did He Do That was behind them. Then at Sunland, a few times he runs right next to One in Vermilion, who we saw come back and win the Jerkins. That was the very sad race where New York Thunder went down and was probably going to win that race. And One in Vermilion came closing late and was able to get the victory when the horse went down. But he earned a big speed figure that day. And that was a very good race. And it showed us that One in Vermilion is a legitimate graded stakes horse. Even had he not won that race, he performed well enough to show he belongs with that company. And How Did He Do That has beat One in Vermilion and it has dead heated with this horse on July the 8th in the Iowa Derby. There was a dead heat and One in Vermilion was DQ'd. So How Did He Do That won that day. So he's a 2-time stakes winner. Nobody else in the field has won a stakes race. Victory Formation, Angel of Empire, One in Vermilion. He beat West Coast Cowboy in the Iowa Derby. That's the West Coast Cowboy who beat Big Data. So if we want to play that game, he was in front of the horse who's been in front of Big Data. And I don't have many knocks on him in this field because I think he should get a really good setup. It's just his running style. He used to have more speed early on in his career, but since he stretched out to the mile races and longer, the last, 6, 7 races in a row, he's just had no early speed at all. And he's become a stone cold closer. That's what concerns me a little bit in here. Now, he should get a great trip. He should get a great setup. It's not the biggest field in the world, so there may not be a bunch of traffic for him. But I'm always going to take the horse who gets the jump versus the horse who's going to be a few lengths behind him. And that's what I see for Big Data versus How Did He Do That. Last out, he was off slow. He finished 7th in that race. He just had nothing, really. So that's a little concerning, too. He's coming off a poor performance in a race where he was only 4-1. 9-5 on the morning line. How did he do that? Multiple stakes winner, the horse they'll have to hold off in the Super Derby. The number 6 is Promise Me a Ride. He's won 2 of his 4 starts, and he's won those 2 races impressively. I think he's a tad overrated and is going to be undervalued in this race. Let's look at his 2 wins. Both of them come in races that were scheduled for the turf and they're taken off the grass. So look at this race. It had look at where I'm down at the bottom, scratched. This is all the horses that were entered in this race that were scratched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 horses scratched out of this race. So it was initially supposed to be a big field on the grass. 8 horses scratch out of it. It ends up being a field of 5 on the dirt, and Promise Me a Ride crushes. Then he steps up. He faces better. Slow start. Nowhere to be found. Tries the turf. Shows speed that day. It was an okay effort. Finished 4th at Ellis on July the 9th. That was his first start back in a couple months. Then on August the 4th, same exact thing happened as his first win. It was a race that was scheduled for the turf. Look at how many scratches. Protege, Smoky Mandate, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All scratched out. Ends up being a field of 5. Again, so in a race that was supposed to be on the grass, it's not. All the horses that are the better horses and the good grass horses all scratch out of the race, and he's left with just a field of 5, and he crushes. So his 2 wins have both been in off-the-turf races where 8 horses in those races scratched. And he gets easy leads. Is he going to get that type of a trip in here? I mean, the 1's fast. Both the 2 and the 3 are stretching out from sprints. They want to go. I could see him maybe just being faster than everybody else, but I don't know. I got to make him prove it to me at a shorter price in here. Promise Me a Ride. Some of the horses that he's faced, you see Beau Cruz, who is third. It was third in the grade 3. Matt Wynn, behind Disarm and Verifying. And then Beau Cruz was disappointing in that Iowa Derby. Promise Me a Ride. He'll be a player here, but I'm going to go elsewhere. Rounding out the field, you have No White Flags. His dam was grade 3 placed, going a mile and a 16th. He'll try to go a little bit farther here. Positive for him. He is the only horse in the field with a race at Louisiana Downs on this Louisiana Downs main track, and he has 2 of them, and he's won both of them. Last time out, he was inside and about 8 lengths off early. He tried to get off the rail. He moved in between horses. He got caught in the flight of 4, and he moved up into contention. He was behind horses again. He was a little bit flat late. He steps up. He will need to improve. I'm wondering what type of trip is he looking for from out here. He wants to sit behind some of the speeds, maybe the same sort of trip that Big Data is looking for. Goes a mile and an eighth for the first time. No White Flags. I'm all over the 4. Big Data. The Super Derby is back. It will go as race number 7 on Saturday. Good luck. 4:53 p.m. is 5:53 p.m. Eastern time, 4:53 local time for the Super Derby on Saturday. Good luck playing this weekend at Louisiana Downs. Hopefully we helped steer you in the right direction here. Don't forget that Labor Day sale at drf.com, up to 50% off on past performances, picks, clocker reports, digital paper, all the tools you need to succeed as a handicapper. Good luck in the Super